Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach, and for today's rules recipe, we're going to be looking at the game Imhotep.
Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
The ingredients that make up Imhotep are a rule book, various different market cards and round cards, along with the different boards used to keep track of scoring and also to sail to during the game, along with the ships themselves used to sail, and also the different sleds and cubes used of 4 different colors each. To begin to set up Imhotep, the first thing you'll want to do is place the 5 siteboards out on the center of the table where everyone can reach them. Each of these sites has an A and a B side to it. In each game you'll want to decide which sides you want to use for each of the locations. After you've set up the siteboards, then place the scoring trackboard to the right of the siteboards. Use this to keep track of all players' points. You'll also want to have all 8 ship tokens ready above the board. You'll then want to make sure you separate the round cards from the market cards. Once you've separated these cards, you'll then want to shuffle the 34 market cards and place them face down as a draw pile to the right of the market board. The 6 rounds in the game are indicated by the round cards here, and there's also 7 of these for each player count, which can be indicated on the bottom of the card. Once you've sorted out the 7 cards of your desired player count for the game, you will have to discard one of the cards so that you get the 6 rounds that the game is played over. After this, each player chooses a player color, either black, white, brown, or gray, and also gets the supply shed of that chosen color. If you're playing a game with fewer than 4 players, you can put any unused supply sheds and stones back into the box. You'll want to move all of your stones to a pile to the right of the board in order to form a stone quarry. Each player will also place one of the stones of their color on the 0-40 space of the scoring track. After all this has been set up, you'll have to decide the starting player. This starting player will get 2 stones to put on their supply sled token. The second player who's to that person's left will get to put 3 stones. The third would get 4 stones, and if you had a fourth player, they would get 5 stones. As I said before, indicated by the number of cards you have, depending on your player count, and after discarding one of the cards, the game will be played over 6 rounds. Each of these rounds will start with you turning over the top card of this deck to determine which ships will be used for this round. In this case, the ships that would be used would be a 4 ship, 2 2 ships, and a 1 ship. You'll want to move these 4 ships that were selected by that card out to the left of the current player boards as to show that they have not yet been sailed. After these have been selected, you'll want to discard any remaining cards on the market and replace them with the top 4 cards from the market deck. If the draw pile is ever emptied, shuffle the discard pile and create a new draw pile. After this step, all players will take their actions in turns, beginning with the starting player. For each turn, the player whose turn it is must carry out exactly one of the following 4 actions. The first action you can attempt to take is to get new stones. If you take this action, you'll get to take 3 stones of your color from the stone quarry and place them on your supply sled token. But remember, your supply sled token has only enough space for a maximum of 5 stones. So if you already have 5 stones on your supply sled, or there are no more stones of your color in the quarry, then you cannot take any more stones. Another action you can do is to take 1 stone from your supply sled token and place it on any empty ship space on a ship that has not yet sailed. If you do not have any stones on your supply sled, or there is no free space on any ship, then you cannot take this action. The third action you can take is to sail 1 ship to a site. To do this, however, 2 conditions must be met. The first condition is that the ship must already be loaded with at least the minimum required number of stones. The gray symbol on the front of the ship shows how many stones need to be placed on the ship before it can be sailed. The second condition that must be met is that the site to which the ship is sailing must still have an open dock. In other words, no other ships can be sailed to it in this round. Once the ship has been sailed to a site, the ship's stones are then unloaded by their owners indicated by the color in order from front to back of the ship delivered to the site, beginning with the stone placed closest to the front. Ignore any empty spaces on the ship. If no ship is loaded with the minimum required number of stones, then you cannot take this action. At each of the sites, there are different rules for what the stone's owner will receive for each stone delivered, and when they will receive it. The market and the pyramid are assessed immediately, the temple is assessed at the end of each round, the burial chamber and the obelisks are not assessed until the end of the game. You can look further into the exact rules for each site under the explanations of the A sides and B sides of the sites. One thing that's important to note when sailing is that you are permitted to sail a ship even when you do not have a stone of your own on it. The only requirement is that both of the other conditions are met. And remember that once a ship has sailed to a site, you'll leave the empty ship in that dock to show that it has already been used this round. The fourth and final type of action a player can take is to play one blue market card. If you have one of these cards, you can play it and make use of its benefit immediately. The played card is then placed on the discard pile. You can only play one blue market card per turn. However, if you do not use one of these cards by the end of the game, it will be worth 1 victory point. Each player will continue to take actions in turns and always perform exactly 1 action per turn. Each player's turn will come up several times per round. The round does not end until all 4 ships have been sailed to the various sites. Important, since there are only 4 ships available per round, there will always be 1 of the 5 siteboards that will not be sailed to. Like I said, the end of the round will be triggered when all 4 ships have been sailed to the sites, and the round will end immediately. Now the temple will be assessed since it is looked at the end of each round. After this has been done, you'll want to prepare for the next round. You'll do this by returning the 4 ships you used this round to the pile of other ships. You'll gather up any market cards still remaining on the market board and place them on the discard pile. All stones already placed on the site boards and supply sled tokens stay in place. The next round then begins. You'll turn over the next round card from the pile and get the 4 ships indicated on the card and place them to the left of the site boards. Also, turn over 4 new market cards from the pile and place them on the market board. The starting player for the new round is the player to the left of the player who sailed the 4th and final ship in the previous round. The end of the game will come after the 6 rounds. Then the final point assessment and scoring takes place. During the final point assessment, you'll look back at the temple for one last time, along with the burial chamber and the obelisks. You will also want to make sure to count all points for decoration and statue market cards that yield you points in the end of the game based on the description of the cards, along with any unused blue cards being worth 1 point at the end. The player with the most points is the winner. In the case of the tie, the player with the greater number of stones on his or her supply sled token is the winner. If this is also a tie, the tied players share first place. I hope this recipe was helpful in teaching you how to play the game Imhotep. If you have further questions about the game, please leave a comment below. Otherwise, you can check out our linked videos below for a playthrough and our final thoughts on the game of Imhotep. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and keep on nibbling.